Hello everyone, from Tony the Scarred Ghost. Today is a very cool day because we are going to see together the Pico Neo 3 Link, the first consumer headset that the Pico, now acquired by Bytedance, has released in the West. So I'm sorry that this review is coming a bit late. I was overwhelmed by work and had not the time to do a proper review of this device. Now finally I've been able to do that, so thanks also Pico for your patience and for sending me a unit. So enough talking, let's see how it is Pico Neo 3 Link and how it compares with the question. Let's see how it is this device. If you have followed my review about the Pico Neo 3 Pro, you will notice that it is very similar. It is the typical black and white design of Pico headsets, the battery in the back so to make everything more balanced. It has some differences, as we'll see when reviewing the comfort. This facepad is different. And then there is here also the IPD adjustment, exactly like the one of the Quest. And integrated audio here and here. Pico writing, and also another typical thing, so Pico headsets is these buttons, so that you can have some functionalities even if you don't use the controller. So this is a home button, back button, and that's a click button. So you can see also the 4 cameras in the same position of the one of the Quest. Here there is a jack for the audio and a microphone. Here you have another microphone, the display port that we will see in a while why it is useful. The turn on button, the status LED, and the USB-C port. So this for the headset, and give me a quick look to controller. We'll see them later on. They seem like elongated Quest 2 controllers. And that's it, so with the standard configuration, etc. So the design of this headset I think is nice. I mean, doesn't look super polished like the one of the Quest. Seems more practical, let's put it this way. But I like, for instance, that there is this two-color design that is typical of Pico and makes the headset a bit less all black or all white like they usually are. So I like this. And also the material seems, not bad. So that it doesn't look like a cheap device. Again, doesn't even look like super polished or super sturdy like the Quest one. But it's good. So personally, I don't dislike it at all. I think it's fine. So I like the design of this device. The Pico Neo 3 Link features very interesting specifications. It runs on top of a Qualcomm Snapdragon X2 processor like the Quest 2, and it has 6 GB of RAM and 256 GB of onboard storage. So like the highest tier of the Quest 2. Talking about the display, it features a 4K resolution and a pixel density of 773 pixels per inch. The refresh rate starts at 72 Hz, but it now runs up to 120 that you can activate inside the device. It has 60 tracking, it supports USB-C connections, has integrated audio, as you will see in the reminder of this review. It has Bluetooth connection to connect with Wi-Fi, and especially has a DisplayPort connection that will be very useful to connect it to your PC. Let's talk about the visuals of this headset. So, first of all, the screen, as I said, is a 4K LCD display. And I have to say that you notice the resolution because it's pretty cool, and you have almost zero screen door effect. You have just a sensation of, let's say, noise. You see some disturbance in the image to make you understand that there are pixels, but you can't see the pixels at all. A bit like in the Quest. I would say probably the contrast with the colors here is a bit less good than the one of the Quest, but anyway, the visuals are very, very good for this to be a standalone device. What else to say? The field of view is not that enthusiastic. It's like 98 degrees. So it feels a little limited sometimes when you play, but I have also to say that this makes the overall pixel density higher, and especially when you play some PC games with the DisplayPort connections, as we'll see in a while, you have a great sensation of realism sometimes when you look really in the center of the image. because the pixel density is bigger than the usual. So this is a pro and a con at the same time. So the lenses are present the lenses, and I want to give you, if I can, a little through the lens live. Well, you see that the visuals are quite good. And so you see the colors may be less vivid than the one of the Quest, but anyway, pretty cool. So that said, I have to discuss one thing, because usually when I review Pico headsets, including the Pico Neo 3 Pro, I complained about problems of chromatic aberration and, let's say, pupil swing. So when I move the head, I see the world slightly distorting with me. So let me say that after all the recent software updates, these problems have been improved a lot. So the chromatic aberration is less than before, and you notice it especially when you look at, let's say, at the border of the lenses. When you try to look at the edge of your vision, you see that the elements of the start separating the colors. So you see there's like things becoming rainbow-ish. The red, green, and blue colors separate with each other, and this is the chromatic aberration. But now it happens really only on the periphery of the vision. And instead, the distortion, when you look around, you see the world slightly distorting as you are underwater. I would say it still is slightly there, you notice it, but much less than before. I would say this again, even is important for the DisplayPort connection with the PC, but I say that it makes the headset and the visuals much better. I mean, before it was not that huge to be disturbing, but you could notice it. Now it's again, you notice it because the brain is very good in noticing every kind of problems in the vision, but it's more like, it's very subtle. So you notice it, but it's not something that is very noticeable. Let's put it this way. So I would say that the visuals of this device are very good. Not as good as the one of the Quest 2. I mean, the Quest 2 is more polished in this sense, but anyway, they're anyway quite good. Now let's talk about audio of this device that has integrated speakers, as I showed you in the beginning. So you can see one of the speakers here, and the other is on the other side, of course. And also have a jack for the additional headphones if you want to have some more immersive sound. Has 1 and 2 microphones to let you speak while in VR. And then there is, of course, the volume buttons to make everything, to change the volume of the application. So I just want to tell you that as you can listen to, the audio is good. I mean, it is a classical audio through integrated speaker of a standalone headset. It's not super high quality, the basses are not amazing, but if you want that, you can use the jack and connect your Sennheiser headphones, for instance. For playing games and social media applications, the integrated speakers are fine, exactly like on the Quest. I played Shape, I played other musical games, even in WebEx, and I enjoy the music. So I would say that for me, that I'm not an audiophile, I'm just very practical for audio. The audio integrator with the Pico Neo 3 is perfectly fine. Now it's the turn to talk about comfort. So the Pico Neo 3 Link is a headset that balances the battery in the back, so that to counterbalance the weight here of the front of the computational unit of the device. I would say that the balancing is not perfect, because if you try to put in the middle here at the time, you see that it's still more weight on the front. And I notice it because when I play, especially a long session of the game, I start hearing some kind of pain here, and I don't know if you still notice it. Sometimes it gives me signs here and here after long sessions of play. So I wouldn't say that the comfort is bad. I would say that it's even better than one of the Quest 2, of course, because there is more balancing, but it still has to be improved, in my opinion, because it's not perfectly balanced. There is a fitting mechanism that is the usual one by Pico. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of this, and it's comprised of these two, let's say, headbands and the crown. So the crown is the standard one, so I don't have to explain you how it works. You expand it here with a knob. And here instead, the fitting mechanism is if your head is big, you use this. If your head is small, you use this. So in case you have a small head, you just use this device as this. If you have a bigger head, you have to remove this one, you see, and you remove this, and so you just have this one. So for me, it's more comfortable this way. And my advice, in case you have to wear it, because in the first sessions I was being very uncomfortable using this. It was super front heavy because I was wearing that in the bad way. So just to give you a piece of advice, the weight of the headset, so when you wear it, you should feel that it is the weight of the device is on the top headband, and then you close it. This way is much more balanced. In the beginning, I was just putting it in front before, and so you see that it's super front heavy if you put it this way. So use the top headband to put it in the right way. So this is my piece of advice. And if you do this way, the comfort, as I said, is similar to the one of the Quest 2. Even better, because it's more balanced. Then I noticed that I was having quite a big light leak. So there is an add-on for the nose if you have too much light leak, but I still have light leak even with the add-on. So I will say this add-on doesn't work that much. And there is IPD adjustment with the three, levels, exactly like on the Quest 2. So I'm not a big fan of this solution because you have just 3 levels of IPD, and then to modify it you have to remove the headset, blah blah blah. But I mean, this is going to change with the next generation of VR, I guess. And it's interesting that I also want you to notice that there is a pad here, cushion for the nape, and then there is this face mask that is made like in, let's say, fabric and sponge. What I can say about this is the real hardware difference with the Pico Neo 3 Pro, because the Pico Neo 3 Pro here has leatherette. It's something easier to clean. It's slightly less comfortable, but for enterprises better because you clean it easier. This is more comfortable because it's sponge and fabric, so it's very cool. But honestly, I've not become a huge fan of it. First of all, I don't feel it's super comfortable. It's not bad, but I don't feel, let's say, the fluffiness of this face mask. And the second problem is that using the headset a lot, it starts sweating. And so, I don't know if you see it, but here you have the sign of my sweat on the face mask. And this is quite disgusting. It's normal, I mean, with all the headsets with this kind of sponge, it happens like this. Probably I would have kept the enterprise solution with the letter to make everything cleaner, especially because many of the sample applications, like super hot, like all shape, make you sweat. So it's better to have something that can protect you. So the comfort of the headset, I would say, is okay. This is my opinion. As for the controller, as I've said, with the Garmin controller, they are balanced, they're good. Probably the only problem is that the index finger seems a bit too much in tension. I don't know how to say, it's not in this position. You see that my index is not relaxed like this. It's a bit in tension and probably a bit too much than I hope for, but this is a quite common problem with all headsets, so I complain every time. Maybe one day I will find a controller that I like. And that's it, so this is about comfort. Let's have a closer look at the controllers. As we have seen in the beginning of this video, they are in a way similar to the Quest controllers. So they have the same input scheme with the trigger, grip button, 2 buttons, a thumbstick, clickable, a menu button, and a back button. The back button is not available on Quest, but they added it, and I think it can be useful, especially because it's very comfortable to press while you're already here with your thumb. So the controllers run on 2 batteries, 2 AA batteries, And I have to say that while it's heavier than the one of the Quest 2 because it has two batteries, it is very well balanced, I think. So when it is in the hand, it doesn't feel like a problem because even if it is slightly heavier, it is well balanced, so it fits well in the hand. So I had no problems using these controllers in games. The grip is also quite good since here there is this material that is a bit rough, so it has a good grip. The only problem is that this part of the controller looks a bit fragile. So it looks less sturdy than the one of the Quest, and when smashing it on the bed while playing, I was afraid I could break it, but actually it survived. So I think that apart from this, the controllers are quite nice, and I had zero problems while using them inside applications. Since we talked about controllers, let's see also how is the tracking of the device. The positional tracking of the headset is perfect. It's totally in line with one of its competitors. It's very stable. And the same is for the controllers. It is even improved with regards to the previous versions. It is very stable. You can see that if one controller occludes the other, there is a little snapping of the one that is in the back. But you can really move them in every possible way, put one controller in the other, it is very stable. Sometimes when you have one controller coming from the bottom, you have a little snap when it enters into the field of vision. But really, I'm talking about making hard tests. Or even if they keep them still, they are still, so you don't have noise. If you put them too close to the headset, of course, they snap. But let's say that if they are not in insane conditions, they are stable when they are fixed and they move well when they move, and when enter the field of view, they usually don't snap unless you're using some particular conditions like coming from the back. So the tracking of the headset and the controller is very good. As for the battery duration, for my test, I would say the battery lasts from 2 to 3 hours per session, depending on the kind of application you're running. The nominal duration is like 3 hours, and I have to say that anyway, with respect to how it was before, I have the impression that the battery lasts a bit more than with the Pico Neo 3 Pro. I don't know if it is an impression, but playing with it, it lasted a bit more than I expected. So this is anyway a plus of the device, and it shows that it is anyway in the same ballpark of the Quest 2. But let's give it a look inside the headset. So you see this is the home environment, and the advantage on the Quest is that you can navigate inside it. There's not interactive, but it's fine to have a tour inside the environment. Looking at the UI, the first thing that I tried was the browser, and it's a standard browser in VR. And it's very cool that it supports WebVR. So I tried here, for instance, MoonRider, and it worked very well. So I was able to enter the application and play this game that is all about sound and all the rest normally. So the WebVR support is very important for the have open content also from the web. Then of course there is the store, the library, and all the content available on the device. And this is important. We'll see this in a while why it is cool. And then you have various settings. You have a file manager to which you can access all the content you have on the headset. You have a fitness tracker, a bit like Oculus Move, to which you can track the calories you burn in the device. You know that fitness is important now in VR. And it's also relevant to see what is in the settings because you can, for instance, change your home environment and choose among 3 or 4 that are available. And then, as usual in the headset, you can select the settings that you prefer. I would say that all this interface is functional, is nice. Probably how it's been done, a bit is a copycat of the Quest, and a bit is anyway less polished, less cool. So probably, I guess they should be redesigned for the final consumer launch. So I promised you to talk about content, so let's talk about content. While reviewing this device, thanks to Pico, I've been able to try amazing games like Superhot, that we all love for its graphics and its innovative time management. Walkabout Mini Golf, this very relaxing, very famous, let's say, golf game. And then 11 Tennis, I had lots of fun playing ping pong by playing it. And these are just samples because looking at the store, it's impressive how many famous titles you find. Things like Demeo, Hyperdash. So games that have been popular on Quest and now are on Pico. And when Pico launched in China, there were just a few, like 12 games. Now there are a lot of games, and even more are coming. A lot of new titles are being released both for Quest and Pico. So I can't say that Pico is at the same level of the Quest. Also, it lacks the Quest exclusive titles like Beat Saber and Population 1. But I say that if I see it with regard to 1 year ago, it made a huge step forward. There are many games you can play, many great games you can play. There is still some shovelware, but anyway, there is now a good catalog of content so that new users have many hours of gameplay to have. So big kudos to Pico because this is probably the biggest growth that this device had since the Pico Neo 3 Pro launch. Now there is also a companion Pico VR app that is available for instance on Android. You can see it on my phone where you can navigate the store of Pico, you can see the library of content on your device, you can buy new content like now I'm doing with Engage, and then I can find them on my device already in my library. With the app you can manage all your Pico devices that you have. And with that, you can do a few interesting features. You can access the files on the device. You can share a link with the browser of the device. So you can write a website and then it opens automatically on the headset. And then you can also access your account, redeem a code, and do a few other administrative operations on your headset and your account. One of the superpowers of the Pico Neo 3 Link is that you can connect it to the PC as if it is standalone headset. So you have a special cable. I have two cables actually. It's a long story, but so this cable, as you can see on one side, it has a DisplayPort and USB connections that go into the PC. And then on the other side, you have this USB-C that actually is DisplayPort connector. So here you have to uncover the DisplayPort connector, and then you can plug your cable like this. And the nuisance is that you have to screw it onto the device. So this is something that is good only if you plan to use always PCVR. And then basically you have to use this to make your cable go this way. So you put a cable like this and then you have a PC VR headset. And it is impressive that the quality inside of this is like the same you will have with a Tether device. Let me show it to you. Okay, so I launched the Pico Link software on my computer. It's a bit fun that the Pico Link for the Pico Neo 3 Link, but it's okay. So after I put my headset, also I started the Pico Link there. I can select Start API connection, and then I can open SteamVR, and I will find myself inside SteamVR. So, and once I will be in SteamVR, the sensation I have are really like the one of being on a PC VR connection. So here now I loaded Half-Life Alyx. I'm trying to make a total length video because you must see what is visible inside the headset and the quality of the visuals. So it's hard for you to see, but you see that the graphical quality is great. And what is impossible to record for me is how it is really amazing. And when I say amazing, I say it's totally PC VR. So since the headset is connected via DisplayPort, what happens is that there is no compression. It's not like with the Link, where everything is compressed and go through USB. Here is a graphics card that directly gives the info to the device. So you have true standalone experience with a 4K display, with also a slightly small FOV, so it means that the pixel density is super high. In the center of my vision, I have Stunning realism. This is impressive. Really, it's the best PCVR experience you can have on a standalone device until now. It's totally good. In the past, when I review it, and you can see my past detailed review in a link I'm adding to the description of this video, I noticed how there were distortions. As I told you in the beginning, Pico devices, when you moved around, you could see some distortions and some aberrations. But now that I've improved also that, you see no distortions. They're really slightly perceptible. I mean, as I said in the beginning, there is a slight distortion when you move around, but it's more a perception. So you can't see that in this video, and it's hard for me to show it to you because it's really a sensation that you just have because the brain is very good in detecting every small problem. But the game is actually very playable. It's really true PCVR experience, and it's even better than before. This is really the superpower of this Pico Neo 3 Link. The possibility of having true PCVR, and the quality is really much better than 1 year ago when I tried it. You should absolutely to try this because it's amazing. There is another way of connecting, the Wi-Fi one. So the one that you already use, many people use with the Quest as well, with the Wi-Fi connection and the AirLink. I will say that the Wi-Fi connection, when I review it for the Pico Neo 3 Pro, was bad. Now I say that is still bad. I mean, here the network, when I try it, is not amazing, the local network. But what it happens to me is that I have continuously stutters. It is super choppy. Sometimes it blocks totally. It should improve. I mean, you see that you can play a bit with the resolution and the refresh rate and this kind of stuff, but it's totally unsatisfying for now. This is my impression. So if you want to go for Wi-Fi streaming, the Quest is better. If you want to go for Tether streaming, the Pico Neo 3 Link is much better. So I noticed about SDK for us developers. So Pico is implementing OpenXR. So this is very cool. It's already available in a mobile SDK. The problem is that it's still available only on native SDK. So if you want to develop in C++. For Unity, it is not available yet. The good news is that it is compatible with the XR Interaction Toolkit and XR Plugin Management. You have just to download a small package. And this means that you have all the means to develop an application for the Quest, for the Pico, and the Bifocus 3 with just creating the project in Unity once and deploy it everywhere. Once OpenXR will be integrated into Unity, I was looking into the forums and the Pico people say that it's going to happen soon. You will able to even build just once and then able to use the APK both on Quest and on Pico. But I will say that this is still too early probably because even the integration of OpenXR with the Quest is still in beta for Unity. And the one with Pico is just coming, so it will be a first version, so I guess it's a beta too. But anyway, it's something that I will say is amazing because it allows you to really develop content that is not only specific with Pico. This means that if you made a game for Quest, it can run on Pico as well. And you know that when there was the launch of the Pico Neo 3 Link, so let me auto-quote myself, that we ported Hitmotion Reloaded to Pico, our fitness game, and I managed to make the porting like less than 1 day, really. It was already compatible with Quest and Focus. I just had to put some things to say that the headset-specific features that we made for Quest were available or not for Pico. I built it, I changed some parameters on the speed of the controllers, and I was done. Amazing. And I even made the porting of a VRChat application for Pico in like 2 days. In single player, of course, not a full multiplayer application. But that was amazing. In fact, I was quoted during the launch of the Pico Neo 3 Link for having ported 2 applications in 3 days. And I'm very proud of it, and I thanks Pico for having included me. But this is just to say that now Pico is a platform worth considering also for us developers, and many developers are porting the content also to Pico, because Pico is supporting developers in doing that because it's looking for content. So I invite you all also to consider this possibility for your Unity and other applications. The Pico Neo 3 link is like an experiment that Pico is doing in the West to see if people in the West are interested in Pico consumer headsets. So it is just available in selected European countries like Italy, France, Germany, UK, and the Netherlands. And only through selected resellers. For instance, for UK there is System Active, for Germany there is Bestware, and for the Netherlands there is My Friends of VR Expert. So you can buy it there, and just for the price of 449 euros or 399 pounds. So the price is bigger in Europe because we have the VAT taxes, but it's interesting that now it's very competitive with the Quest, because now after the price raise, the 256 gigabytes version of the Quest costs much more than 449, and the standard version costs more or less the same in Europe. So for the same price of the standard Quest, now you have a device with a Pico, you can have a device that is 256 gigabytes of storage, DisplayPort connection, and other cool stuff like that. So it starts becoming competitive in price with the Quest, and this bodes well with what will be probably the release of the next device by Pico, the Pico 4, that should be released, according to the rumors, in these 2 months. So it's quite exciting to see what is the pricing of this Pico Neo 3 link. So you may wonder what are my final impressions about the Pico Neo 3 link. Well, I will say that it's a good start. It's a good start for Pico in the consumer market. I understand why they put it in beta and are waiting to release now the new headset, the Pico 4, that is coming, according to all rumors, probably these 2 months, because this is a good device for me, but it's still a bit less than the Quest 2. My impression, it is like a less polished Quest 2. I will define it this way, because the features are more or less in line with the Quest 2, but there is always something that could be polished a bit more, like slight distortions in the visuals, like the comfort and the face mask could have been improved. I don't know, the application sometimes that I noticed some small bugs there. The interface looks a bit too enterprise still. It's not as cool as the one of the Quest 2. But it's a good device, so the tracking is good, the visuals are good, the content is improving a lot, really. It's impressive how many content is coming for Pico and how many good games there are. I mean, Red Matter, there is O-Shape, there is Super Hot, Crisis Brigade, Cubism. I mean, really a lot of content is coming. I really find it a good device. I enjoyed my time with it, and probably what it needs to really to improve is adding more polish, even more content, because it's still not enough to compete with the Quest. I appreciated some of its special features, like the DisplayPort connection. This is a superpower that the Quest really can't copy at all, so it's amazing. And also the price now is super competitive, because with the parity of features, it's cheaper than the Quest 2. So it's if you consider the features that it has, what I want to mean is that and the price is much cheaper than the Quest 2. So this is impressive. So that's why I say that I see it as something that makes me think positively about the future of Bytedance and Pico in VR. Because the trend is positive. I see many improvements regarding when I tried the Pico Neo 3 Pro 1 year ago. I see that the price is good. I see that the situation is getting always better, and so I think that Pico is doing a great job. So if you ask me now if it is better this or the Quest, I will say that if you go standalone, it's better, still better the Quest. But now I can say that if you go for PC, this is much better than the Quest, for instance. So there is not a clear winner between the two. Probably the Quest 2 is still an ecosystem that is richer. But for instance, it's cool that Pico is an open ecosystem for accessories. You can use the ultra lip sensor with it. So it's an interesting battle. That's why I want to see what happens with the next devices, with the Project Camera, probably we'll call the Quest Pro, and the Pico 4 competing. For now, we'll say that this is a good device, so if you may be interested in trying something different from the Meta device, I would advise you to buy this Pico Neo trailing for sure. And that's it for today, so thanks for watching this video. As usual, if you have comments or considerations, feel free to write them in the questions here below. I will try to answer them. And thanks again, and I hope you liked it. If this is the case, please like and subscribe to my channel. This makes me super happy. If you want also, you can donate on my Patreon account. And have a great day in VR. Bye bye.